Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we finished one part of the Dark Eldar questline, and now we have another. Oh yeah, loot. I gotta mulch that. Anything worthwhile? Do a quick lightning round. I hit the wrong button. Whatever. I still got space. We'll just have to deal with it later. Oh, skill point. Yeah, we'll keep going down this line. Yeah, we'll put that on, because 25% bonus damage is good. And then we can grab that.
Any luck with establishing contact with the governor?
No. The raiders must use a xeno-scrambling device. That was also the reason why we couldn't send you closer to the palace. At least I think that's what the tech priest told me in his lecture.
I'll try to get closer to the palace then.
So, if you missed the news lately, there was it was like Ubisoft Day, or something titled just as goofy. And it was essentially their whole deal of like, hey, here's our upcoming stuff, where they show some of the stuff, but you know they're saving stuff for Summer Games Fest. And they had, God, what was it? They had a trailer for the Division Heartland, which, if you're like me, you thought, oh, that's the Division 3. No, turns out it is a separate game. Imagine my shock, right? And at first they're like, oh, you'll have to survive and drink water and have filters to go into the contaminated areas. I'm like, okay, cool. I completely vibe with adding more survival elements. And they're like, yeah, and when it turns to nighttime, it's a PvPvE situation where everything's extreme. I'm like, oh. And they showed footage, and there's like helicopter infill and exfil points all over. Oh my god. Cordiano, hurry the hell up.
World. Politician, poet, and lover. I require help immediately.
You are addressing an agent of the Holy Inquisition, Governor.
Capital. Then you must be the perfect candidate for this task. These filthy Xenos are trying to break into my palace, and honestly, this ruckus is getting truly terrifying. They have these grotesque machines that scream and kill, and we are entirely powerless against them. Only a couple of flimsy barricades are left between them and my precious presence.
Man, my ass could not be a Inquisitor. I'd just pummel that dude into silence. Like, damn, you take forever to talk. Just shit or get off the pot. Help Xenos at the gate. Quickly or I die. Boom, message sent. But yeah, so we have the Heartland is an extraction shooter. Everything I've seen paints it to be that. And I'm just really bummed Because first off, there's a lot of questions to be asked. Because they're like, oh, you have to craft the turrets you deploy. And I'm thinking, okay, that's fine. For the sake of balance, stuff like that has to be done. But there's also only 3 classes. One that has like the ping ability for like the little radar pulse, the turret, and then something else that I don't remember being shown. But I was like, okay, so they also kneecapped the classes from 1 and 2, which kinda sucks. But I also understand, because if you had the abilities in 2, you would just flatten everybody. There's no two ways about it. But they do all this stuff. I'm like, okay, this kind of sucks. And then one of the devs that they talked to, he's like, yeah, I like to kill the other players and go through their stuff. And I'm like, wait, so this is really an extraction shooter. We got, loot that goes away. And some of the stuff they show, it's got the standard rarity variety. And I'm thinking, okay, first off, what is the difference between a green piece of gear or green weapon and a yellow weapon? Because I know yellow is like high-end or military grade. But is this just going to be an indicator of these are weapons that you normally can't find easily? They're like, oh, here's a Tavor. It's not a common weapon, but, it's got some advantages. Kind of like Tarkov, where certain weapons are better or worse than others. But I'm like, what's the differences here? And then I assume daytime is like primarily PvE, and that's when you can go get gear, and then you go to the hub, and then you go back out at nighttime whenever, and it's a server. You just join a server, and they're gonna have to have a timer. Well, they could. The other option is this game is just like the one space one they have, not Marauders. Oh my god, I know what it is too. The Cycle Frontier? I think that's it. The one where there's like extraction spaceships you have to get on and they come and go, and you can just like hang out and vibe forever hunting players if you want. But that's the only other opportunity I could see, is that's what it is, and nighttime enemy spawns get ramped up. But I'm kind of bummed, because I like the idea of a more hardcore PvE shooter. I am personally a proponent for doing hardcore PvE extraction shooters, because not everybody likes PvP, and people just follow the path of least resistance. If I know, let's say there's 10 infill points, but only 3 exfills are active and everyone has the same exfills, I'm just gonna camp one. Because the people coming to extract are either loaded with loot, completed their objective, or they're trying to escape because they're out of supplies and worn down. There's a chance they're fully kitted out and have been managing to salvage stuff off other players, but even then I've had the time to set up my position. So I just see it as kind of a not that cool idea. And the sad part is, there's actually really cool ideas they have in the game. Like I said, the whole filter thing. I always hated going into infected areas in Division 1, because they'd be like, look out, there's virus in this area, and you just put your mask on and walk in. And then once you leave, you walk out. That was it. There's no danger, there was no threats. It's just like, beep boop, we put this in for story reasons, Please don't think about it more than you have to. And it really falls apart the second you think about it. Instead, though, they have these, like, roaming, like, virus clouds. And the loot inside is better. And I'm thinking, oh, that's really cool. You know, you have the opportunity. Do you go in to get this stuff, or do you do kind of a smart trick and let other players go in, and then you just try to zone them and keep them trapped in there until they run out of filters? And then you run in with your filters, scoop up the loot, and dip? You don't know.
I see you're making friends.
Anything good? No. Okay. Into the proverbial wood chipper.
Arrived at the former command center of the Planetary Defense Forces. Not much left to save here.
The Dark Eldar are the masters of subterfuge and ambush. These inexperienced soldiers had no chance against them.
The dispatches mentioned a newly arrived commissar in charge of reintegrating the troops into the Imperial war machine.
Logical assumption. I'll ask the tech priest to mark his location on your map. We also have reports of Xenox incursions from Gladius Hive, not too far from here.
But yeah, so this whole new extraction shooter is hit and miss in my eyes. And it feels weird to have this be like the new Division game, because it isn't Division 3. At least I hope it isn't. Because, God, that's a really bad fall to go from 2 to Heartland. Oh, yeah. And this was something I was talking to my brother about, because he plays the Division 2 a lot. And I had said, you know for a fact they're not going to have exotics, because there is no way you could balance them. One of the weapons he uses a lot is Pestilence. It's, if I remember right, it's like an M249, but when you hit enemies, it causes a damage over time stack equal to a bullet over 10 seconds, and you can stack up to 50 dots on an enemy. And if the enemy dies with the dots on them, then it just gets moved to another enemy within a certain range. And I said, yeah, can you imagine using that? Or another one, I think it's Nemesis? Or it might not be Nemesis, it might be a different gun. But it's like an RPK where after hitting, it fires on trigger release and trigger pull, and after hitting an enemy 7 times, they get a stack per bullet, and I believe after the 7th hit, your next hit consumes all the stacks and does 5 bullets worth of damage in an explosion around the target. And I was like, there's no way you could use these things. They would instantly break the game. So this is going to be a very, kneecapped version of what the Division normally is. And I feel like it's still going to come in behind the 8 ball here, because look at COD's DMZ mode. I still think it's butt cheeks because it's Call of Duty, and they have their own controversies right now of apparently you can buy weapon bundles, and one of the bundles, instead of having the weapon put on a 2-hour cooldown, it's only a 15-minute cooldown. Because there's weapons you find in raid that are contraband, and then there's your insured weapons that you can pull out every so often. And if you extract you get a certain amount of money and that instantly gets converted to reduce the cooldown. But this weapon already comes with 15 minutes, and there's a lot of issues like that people are talking about that are clearly some form of pay to win, or at least pay for advantage. And I'm just like, look, COD, even though they've done stupid stuff like that, have improved their game a decent amount. There's different plate carriers that have like a medical one that speeds up reviving times, or one that essentially gives you the ghost perk, another one that pings nearby enemies and stuff. Different things that are interesting. I'm like, are you going to include stuff like that in Heartlands, or are we already coming in kind of behind? This is why games need to kind of stay in their lane and make their own stuff, because then we don't have these issues. And to a degree, where a lot of people are tired of DMZ and tired of Warzone with how bad it is. And I kind of figure, if we're lucky, we're gonna see these extra game modes kind of go the way of the dodo pretty soon. Which is fine by me, because I'd rather see COD go back to its multiplayer roots than keep trying to chase after every trend and forsake its core gameplay. Only thing I enjoyed from the newer games, well, the two mechanics I've enjoyed are the gunsmith, and then, which everybody's now begun to adopt, and then the whole, 64-man ground war, because we don't have anything close to that anywhere else. Battlefield is still Battlefield, and even though I see people constantly going, oh, the game's so much better with this update, I don't see a lot of, even the big name Battlefield people playing Battlefield. So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, if your big names still aren't touching the game, it's clearly not that much better. Hey, friendly turret.
You have killed an incubus, Inquisitor.
Yeah, I did it. I killed an incubus. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But honestly, Ubisoft is not giving me a lot of stuff to put faith in. I just want a hardcore, single player co-op game. Hell, look at Stalker Gamma Mod. They turned Stalker into an even more hardcore game, and I love it. Because I don't need to deal with other people if the game is punishing enough. Even DMZ, to a degree, can be challenging if you get swamped by enemies. It just gets easier the more players you have. And even then, when you really look at it, and this is something I had thought about because I was watching gameplay, stuff like the boss helicopter, people just ignore. You just gotta make that more roaming. Give them more vehicles. The, essentially the LAV, can't remember what it was actually designated in Modern Warfare 2019, where it's essentially LAV is the best description, light attack vehicle, because it's got a 20mm, 30mm autocannon, 50, and then guys can get in it, but it's not an APC because the APCs are a separate thing. But have APCs, players would be a lot more hesitant to things if they're like, oh damn, I need a launcher, or we need to avoid these guys because they can and will flatten us. But nah, we'll just have PvP, I guess. Yeah, loot box, let's see what we got. Yeah, kind of expected that. I mean, that's not bad for if I want to run a Cataphrone Vanguard. Bonus damage on the Great Axe, bonus damage on Canticles, the Omniscia. It is an option. What about... No, that's just worse. Okay. It is 2 points of damage more, but am I really gonna sit here and nitpick over 2 points of damage? Nah, it's not worth it. Not gonna waste the time hemming and hawing. Might as well talk to you.
What's happening down there?
Okay, so that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.